What would you do if you found out that the first real contact with an alien didn't happen in the United States, but deep in the forgotten forests of the Ural Mountains in Russia, and that it was all covered up by a secret military operation no one ever dared to confirm? Because in 1969, something fell from the sky, and it wasn't a meteor, it was a UFO. Locals saw it, the KGB silenced it, and those who spoke out vanished. But behind the scenes, what happened was far more than a simple crash. A living being was found, a strange artifact pulsed with energy, and what looked like just a craft may have been the biggest biological secret in human history. For decades, Russia pretended nothing happened. But now, the signs are coming back. Strange lights in the sky, distortions in time, structures rising from the ice. So here's the question no one wants to answer. What if that thing was never just a ship? Buckle up, because what you're about to hear was hidden from the world. But today, the truth comes out. On a cold night in 1969, as the Soviet Union buried its secrets under layers of military silence, something blazed across the Ural sky. A fiery streak lit up the clouds and crashed violently into the forests near Borisovsky. Locals woke up to the impact, watching a glowing orb tear through the horizon. And that's where the mystery began. A UFO had fallen. No one was allowed to speak of it. Authorities arrived before sunrise. Tanks, soldiers, and state scientists swarmed the area. Why the urgency? Witnesses claimed the object was metallic, covered in symbols from no known alphabet. And what's more, an entity with grayish skin and slanted eyes was taken out alive. Official version? A meteor. Off the record? A secret that still hasn't been debunked. Now think about it. Why would an elite military force mobilize like that over a meteor? Why were all tapes, photos, and reports locked away forever? Rumors of a containment mission involving an alien grew louder. Was this really just an accident? Or the first covert contact between Russia and something not from this world? As soon as Soviet radars confirmed something had crashed hard in the Urals, the KGB was alerted. Not just any military unit, the most feared agency in the USSR. This wasn't routine protocol. This was high-priority containment. They knew it wasn't man-made. Eyewitnesses described details eerily similar to previously classified UFO cases from the Cold War era. The media, silent. Not a single newspaper covered it. No radio broadcasts. No official bulletins. Journalists were either bribed, threatened, or silenced. Internal files were marked red-level classified, a label usually reserved for nuclear threats. If an alien had been recovered alive, the entire world would have erupted. That's why they moved fast. To this day, locals refuse to talk about it. Some disappeared after speaking out. The KGB didn't just cover the event, they erased its footprint. But the more they tried to suppress the story, the more the conspiracy grew. And among all the theories, one began to terrify even the most skeptical minds. Years passed in silence, until a mysterious video began circulating underground. Black and white, shaky and soundless, the footage showed what looked like a medical room. Soviet surgeons hovered over a table. On it, a being that clearly wasn't human. Oversized head, smooth pale skin, large black eyes. The tape became known as the Russian Roswell. And what's shocking, the similarities were too precise to ignore. Experts verified that the uniforms, tools, and lighting matched Soviet military hospitals of that era. But the body? It had no burns, no blood. It was intact, as if it hadn't crashed, but been captured. Some wondered how many other aliens have ended up on surgical tables far from the public eye. What really disturbs researchers is how the details match the 1947 Roswell case. 2 continents, 2 superpowers, 2 crashed UFOs, 2 beings that look nearly identical. Coincidence? Or something far more orchestrated? And if so, what was found alongside that body could be even more unsettling. Anyone who got close to the crash site was forcefully removed. Some villagers were interrogated for days. Others vanished completely. Records show that at least 3 families abandoned their homes overnight, leaving food on the table and pets behind. No official explanation. Fear became law. Mentioning the UFO was considered a threat to state security. Troops guarded the area 24/7. Locals reported large, covered containers being loaded onto trucks. What was inside? Rumor says it wasn't equipment, but alien technology. Those who tried to take pictures or record were hunted down. One young photographer ended up in a psychiatric ward and was never seen again. And as the questions piled up, the KGB did what it did best: erase and deny. But they overlooked one crucial detail, something that slipped through their fingers, something that would resurface decades later, tied to a mysterious object found beside the craft. Among the wreckage, one item stood out, an object unlike anything made by human hands, metallic, engraved with geometric symbols, glowing faintly like a heartbeat. Soldiers wore thick gloves to handle it, clearly hesitant. It had no buttons, no sound, no seams, but it seemed alive. Researchers said it looked less like a machine, and more like a symbol, or a key. Was it a locator? A beacon? Could it have sent a signal into space, or into the Earth itself? That object didn't disappear. It was stored, studied, possibly reverse-engineered. And the strangest part, it reportedly reacted to certain sound frequencies. Now be honest, do you really think the Soviet Union found alien tech and just filed it away? That object became the center of black site experiments. Some say it even vanished from the lab, just before secret testing began at a remote Kazakh base. Soon after the artifact surfaced, a forgotten base in Kazakhstan roared back to life, isolated, satellite blind, no traceable data. Reports from nearby villages spoke of midnight tests, explosions without echoes, and lights rising into the sky, then vanishing. It was as if gravity itself was being rewritten. Elite scientists were flown in under false identities. Residents nearby reported animal disappearances, broken electronics, and a strange nausea in the air. One file mentioned space reconfigurations surrounding the object. What kind of tech does that? The answer, according to a defector, nothing human. They weren't studying the UFO, they were trying to fly it. And during one experiment, the craft responded. A hum vibrated the air. A blue light flickered across its surface, as if something had awakened. The man who tried to flee with this story vanished in Germany without a trace. But before he did, he left behind damning testimony, and one name. Inside the Kremlin, the highest circles were briefed. Documents suggest that Brezhnev himself approved the formation of a covert unit codenamed Dark Division. Their goal? Reverse-engineer the UFO and harness its power before the Americans did. Members were handpicked from rogue scientists and shadow agents. They operated underground, literally. No records, no oversight. Their mission: unlock the object, replicate its effects, and test it in the field. Some experiments involved silent propulsion, others spatial bending. A few focused on manipulating thought patterns. This wasn't science fiction. It was Cold War supremacy, with alien blueprints. But the deeper they dug, the more unstable things became. One day, a message surfaced, embedded in the object. No one could agree on what it meant. A warning? A countdown? Whatever it was, it triggered panic. And that's when a man on the inside tried to expose it all, and paid the price. Known only as Mikhail S. He was a former KGB analyst with direct access to the crash files. In 1992, after the USSR fell, he fled to London with documents, photos, even a metal shard he claimed came from the UFO. He planned a press conference that would shake the world. He never made it. 3 days before the event, Mikhail was found dead in his hotel room. Cause? Heart attack. But the body disappeared before autopsy. The metal sample and documents, gone. Journalists he contacted received anonymous threats. A news station had its servers wiped, just days after backing up the footage. What did Mikhail know that terrified so many? And what if he'd found something that linked the Russian UFO to a larger global conspiracy? Because what happened next suggests this secret wasn't just Russia's to hide. In the 90s, while Soviet files leaked out, something strange emerged in US intelligence. A declassified NSA memo referred to non-terrestrial activity on Russian soil in 1969. The object was labeled Berezovsky-01, so the Americans knew. And not only that, some believe there was an exchange technology for silence. Whispers suggest US experts gained access to the artifact, or even the alien body. In return, Russia received upgrades in propulsion systems and energy manipulation. Both nations made sudden tech leaps in the early 2000s. Coincidence, or a shared extraterrestrial gift? Even creepier, symbols found on the Russian UFO matched markings from the Roswell crash. Same origin? Same species? Two enemy superpowers touched by the same visitors. If true, this wasn't an accident. It was a coordinated plan, and the world may have already been changed without our consent. Over time, a darker theory took root. What if world governments made contact and formed alliances with aliens? Secret pacts, shared experiments, designated zones where humans no longer hold authority. There are even claims that parts of Siberia and Nevada are off limits, for reasons that aren't man-made. Whistleblowers describe joint operations in underground facilities, like Dulce Base and Russian bunkers. Technology responding to thoughts. Creatures communicating without sound. One described entity even left coordinates. Some pointed not to space, but deep within Earth itself. Now ask yourself, why would enemy nations suddenly cooperate? What kind of power could force enemies to become partners? Only one answer makes sense. Something older, more powerful, and beyond human comprehension. And that partnership, it may be falling apart as we speak. In recent conflicts, strange patterns have emerged. Drones vanish from radar. Jets lose power over specific zones. Bullets pause mid-air. These anomalies often occur near suspected testing areas, places where allegedly alien tech has been deployed. In Crimea, soldiers reported white flashes and nausea before blackouts. In the Middle East, similar patterns emerged. Electromagnetic surges, broken radios, disorientation. Was this Russian tech? Or something older, finally operational? If this is real, it means we're already in a new kind of war, a silent battle between factions wielding off-world power. But who really controls this tech? And what if no one does? Some reports say it's evolving on its own, learning, growing, and preparing. The past isn't staying buried. Satellite images now show a metallic shape rising from the ice in the Ural Mountains, the exact crash site from 1969. Hackers leaked blurry frames, but the outline matches the old autopsy footage. It's not gone. It's waking up. Locals report strange lights, failed electronics, compasses spinning. One truck driver claimed to see a metal shadow hovering over the forest. He tried filming, but his phone shut off. Days later, he lost his job and disappeared. Sound familiar? What if the craft was never moved? What if it stayed buried, dormant, waiting for a signal, a time, or an activation? The signs suggest it's reawakening. And what comes next can't be silenced. New data reveals the object may be distorting reality itself. Scientists recorded gravitational anomalies near the site. Clocks freeze, audio skips minutes, even shadows bend. This isn't just a machine, it may be bending time. One leaked video shows a worker entering a test zone with a stopwatch. He exits 90 seconds early. Time literally warped. This kind of reaction implies advanced alien manipulation of physics. And the scariest part, we're playing with it without knowing the risks. If this object can warp time, what else can it rewrite? History? Memory? Entire timelines? Some scientists have already pulled out of the program. But one whisper remains. They've captured a future echo. And what it shows is not survival. What if we got it all wrong? What if the UFO wasn't a vessel, but a life form? Recent reports suggest the craft breathes, changes color, responds to touch, emits rhythmic pulses. It's not tech, it's a biological alien being. Some believe the pilot found inside was never a pilot, but a parasite, a projection, a hybrid. And the ship, a sentient creature, one that's slowly waking up. Researchers recorded whale-like sounds, vibrations and patterns. Was it language, or a distress signal? Now imagine this. We've imprisoned a conscious, intelligent organism since 1969. What if it remembers? What if it's angry? Or worse, calling for help? The military wants control, but this thing, it was never meant to be tamed. And now, it's no longer asleep. After all this, the loudest sound is silence. Russia has never acknowledged the event. No denial, no confirmation, and that says everything. Insiders claim a new underground facility now guards the object, equipped with AI surveillance and enhanced soldiers. Some say these soldiers have been modified, implants that increase perception and link them to the entity. Russia doesn't comment because they no longer control it. They observe, they wait, they fear. Others claim the silence is fear-driven. Scientists are vanishing. Remote labs are failing. Readings defy explanation. Whatever they woke up, it's no longer cooperating. And maybe, just maybe, this silence is the last sound before contact is made. If even a fraction of this is true, what else has been kept from us? How much of our daily life, our tech, our wars, our history, was shaped by a UFO buried in Russian soil? So now I ask you, do you still believe we're alone? Or are you starting to question everything? Because maybe, the next incident won't be in a remote forest. Maybe it's already here. Tell me in the comments, is Russia still hiding the ship, or has it already lost control? If this object fully wakes up, which side would you choose? If you want more forbidden knowledge that no one else dares to share, hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and stay with us, because the next video might reveal something even darker.